Music, dance, theater. It's time to take a seat on the aisle with Tom Alvarez. Hear from performers, producers, presenters, and creators who enrich our lives in the performing arts. Who's on stage? Here is Tom Alvarez to introduce you.
Hello, and welcome to On the Aisle with yours truly, Tom Alvarez. My guest on today's episode is actor, singer, dancer Cindy Collins. She's also a co-founder of Actors Theater of Indiana. Join me now as I go on the aisle in a conversation with Cindy. Welcome, Cindy Collins. What a pleasure to have you. I've been trying to make this happen for a long time, so thank you for taking the time.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Tom, it is happening.
And, I was just telling you as we were walking in that, I had so many questions for you in the hallway, and I said, I got to save that because there's some, you'd be surprised. People say, an hour? What can we talk about for an hour? I said, you would be surprised.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, I want this show to be the kind of show where it's like you're eavesdropping if you're sitting next to these folks in a cafe or a bar, right? So anyway.
In the automat.
Yeah, and I pivot a lot, so I'm sure you can keep up with me.
I'll try.
Yeah, okay. Well, if you work the way you do on stage, you think on your feet as an actor. I have seen, I don't know, how many years have you been in town? And we'll get into all that.
Yeah, but we moved here in 2005.
2005. Well, then, I have seen 20 years of your work.
Yeah.
I've seen probably a majority of the body of your work, because as you know, I'm a reviewer, and I've been covering music, theater, and dance for a long time in this town. So let's start with your background with Actors Theater of Indiana. That's what you're best known for. And so give me a brief history of how it is that you came to Indy and all that.
Okay, so like I said, in 2005, I arrived in Indiana with Judy Fitzgerald and Don Farrell. The three of us moved here from New York City. We had all worked together at different theater companies around the country, got to know each other, and then worked at a theater company quite regularly down in Atlanta, Georgia Ensemble Theater. And the founders of that theater, Bob and Anita Farley, kind of took us under their wing, so to speak, when the three of us were kind of deciding, hey, maybe we should start a theater company, as crazy as that sounds, because there is a bit of craziness in that. It's not an easy task. And so we had been going down there for at least, 3 years, always doing their spring musical. That's what they did. They ended their season with a musical. And that's when they got their subscriptions for the next season. So they wanted to end with a bang. And they started asking us to come down and do the musicals. And I would sometimes choreograph and be in the show, which is not conducive, really. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, but people do it, and sometimes you have to do it. And Don would direct, and that's where we kind of got the idea, working for them, for that theater company. And then, like I said, we were like, where are we going to go? And so I'm from New Jersey and then New York, and Judy is a Hoosier. Judy Fitzgerald's a native to Indiana. And Dawn is originally from, actually, Georgia. But she's like, well, we need to go to Indiana. My family is there. We'll have a great support system there. Indiana needs more professional theater. And I was like, okay. And Dawn was like, okay. And Judy was pregnant. She was going to have Lizzie. And so she's like, I want to be around my family, when I have my baby. So here we are. Judy and Dawn got here first. They were here before I was, about a few months before I was. I was doing a show in New York and assistant directing a show at AMDA in the city. So I had some irons in the fire. So they got here first and met with Jim Brainerd of Carmel.
The mayor.
And that's when, the ex-mayor of Carmel, Jim Brainerd, and that's when that whole thing started where he's like, hey, I'm building a performing arts center. Would you like to be?
Did
you know?
Judy know that in advance about this performing arts center?
No, she was here, and I believe it was in 2004, and she got wind of it. She was staying with her sister, who lives in Carmel, and they got wind of this new performing arts center that was going to be built, and a very good friend of the Fitzgerald family, Jim Briggs, very good friends.
I knew Jim.
Yeah,
Yes.
very good friends with the
Yes.
Fitzgeralds, with Judy's parents. He had a contact to Mayor Brainerd and introduced Judy and Don to that contact, and in turn, they met with the mayor, and Jim Brainerd said, hey, you know, I'm building this place, and we need a professional theater company in there. Would you like to be the professional theater company? We weren't even incorporated yet. And so, of course, they're like, yes, of course. And that's just how the ball got rolling. I got out here, and we got incorporated, and all had to buy homes, and I had to buy a car for the first time in my life. I was like, oh, God, I got to buy a car. I need car insurance, you know.
You know, how remarkably fortuitous, but in a mystical way. I mean, if you think about it, the timing and them meeting Brainerd and the visionary, and, you know, it's like, you guys, did you manifest it though? You were going to get this theater one way or another?
Yeah, because, you know, here we were. This was just his vision. There was nothing. I mean,
sure.
I would just visit Carmel because Judy's sister lived here, and we'd drive around, and now I drive around and I'm like, holy
I
cow.
know.
I mean, it's a different city, and it was all his vision. Kudos to him. Everything that whole performing arts center, and Midtown, and Main Street being revitalized.
If you build it, they will come.
Well, right.
It really happened.
So we had to trust his word.
Sure.
There was nothing in writing. There was a handshake, and he kept his word.
You know, I hear he's renowned for that, convincing people like Michael Feinstein.
And he got him too. And all of Michael's complete collection is in Carmel. And the songbook, obviously American Songbook, his collection is extensive of what he has. That's here in Carmel. And yeah, he got him, and he is, at least I can only speak personally, he's true to his word.
Sure.
And that place wasn't built until 2011, Tom.
Yeah.
And we got here in 2005. So we had to hit the ground running, find a place, hire people. But we were at the Zionsville Performing Arts Center, was our first venue. We were there for a couple of 2 or 3 years.
How'd you
We were
do
there.
those first few years?
We did everything.
I mean, how did you do? How were you received? Do you have good audiences?
Well, it's funny,
and
when we
stuff?
first got here, got the Zionsville Performing Arts Center. Okay, this is where we're going to be. And our first show was My Way, a tribute to Frank Sinatra. We had just done it down in Georgia. We had just done it at the theater company that I had mentioned, Georgia Ensemble Theater. So we'd just gone down there and done it. And they said, well, listen, take everything. You can have the set, you can have the costumes, take the props, and this is what you can open your theater with. And we were like, huzzah. Great, that's what we're doing. So I think Don just got a moving van and threw all the sets in it and stuff and drove it up here, and that's what we opened with. And I will never forget this. My parents and my sister and my cousin Heather. And the show opens, we do the opening night, you know. Yeah. And this is when we're like, let's go get the paper to see what the review says. Let's go get the Star.
Charles Staff or the other?
Nick.
Morning.
Nick,
Okay.
he wrote the reviews for such a long time. So my sister and I ran out, because my parents were staying with me, and my sister was too. We ran out, we're like, let's find the paper, let's go get a Star. It's like the old days, like you're waiting for the reviews to come in. And it was a great review. It was like a
yes.
powerhouse review, like, look at this new company that just hit the scene. Oh, huzzah. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh my gosh. So, you know, it was a big splash. Everybody was like, who are you? Look at these 3 actors coming from New York. They're starting the theater company here. How? Oh, great. Yay. So it was like, you know how that is at first. It's like, yay. Okay. Got to got to keep that up. And,
Yeah.
and then people here really helped us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they really helped us. Like printing partners, Michael O'Brien really helped us.
Mm-hmm.
And his associate, Mindy Delp, they were like, we'll do your printing, we'll help you. McGuire Scenic, which was a huge scenic company, Don McGuire. And they took us, they really, like, we were like the poor cousins. They're like, you're going to be our pet project. Because we had nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. We had some money from our parents, startup money. Each of our parents gave us some money. That's it. That's what we had. We had the three of us, some startup money.
It seems to me, though, that by the force of your personalities and your talent, that had a lot to do with you getting all that support.
Well,
early on.
Yeah, it must have. People just, I guess, liked us. I don't know, and thought what we were doing was worthwhile, I guess. I certainly think it is.
Well, it's no surprise to me. I'll tell you right now, I've seen your work, Don's and Judy's, because for a long time you were together on that stage, and I've seen you in other things. And so, I mean, the quality of your talent was on a par with, and the public by then had been exposed to Indiana Repertory Theater, and they used to cast from New York. And Chicago and elsewhere, and there wasn't much of an equity scene. And then you guys came around, you were the second or third. Was it Beef and Boards?
Beef and Boards has been around a long
Same
time.
thing. There were people who were coming in, so they knew that your quality was, and of course it still means a lot to people that equity actors are pros. So you were equity people.
The
right?
union is, I'm a proud member. I've been a proud member of Actors Equity.
So you were able to tack that onto the theater, the fact that you're an equity company.
Well, you have to. You're an equity theater company.
So that had a lot to do with it too. I think that really impressed the locals. It wasn't just community theater.
Right.
With all due respect, we'll talk about that too. But in any case, so you got a lot of support, and I've been watching it from afar, and it's been such a joy to see the continuum, the momentum that builds, and it's organic,
Yeah, we were kind of grassroots, really, because it was just three of us, and we had a lot to learn, though, too. I mean, here we were, three performers, and the artistic side, we're like, we got that. We know how to cast a show.
The business side.
We needed this. The administrative side was a real learning curve.
Did you have mentors or mentees?
Well,
board people.
The people, Bob and Anita Farley from George Ensemble Theater, actually helped with that. They were very good mentors with that side of it.
Did you incorporate right off the bat or not?
Yeah, we did. We got oh my God.
And got your not-for-profit status shortly after?
Yep, right away we incorporated and got the not-for-profit status altogether.
So they must have advised you along the way.
Oh yeah, because we had known them for...
They said you got to do this, this, and this.
Yeah, we knew them before, because like I said, we had been going down there and doing their spring musical for quite some time. At least 3 or 4 years. And so yeah, they really helped us. And Judy's sister, Kathy, is an attorney. So she's like, I know who can incorporate you and who can help you do that, and her friends. So we had some really nice connections here with helping us do quite a few things. And we just learned by doing. People can tell you and they can mentor you and they can help you, but we really just had to hit the ground running and just make mistakes. And
the thing about that, though, this well now. I mean, because you don't know anything, you're fearless. What do we have to lose? We don't have anything right now. Trial and error.
It was trial and error, and it was also, in for a penny, in for a pound. We knew in this business, there's nothing certain about it. There's nothing certain about being a performer in the performing arts, and it can be sketchy. And so, just knowing that as an actor, we were like, we're just going to do the best we can, and we're just going to keep going no matter what. And if somebody tells you no, you say, I don't like that word. So it makes you work even harder.
Well, I think actors, their instincts are to be ambitious and driven anyway. Yeah. So, that's where that fearlessness comes in.
Yeah, I agree. With the punches and
we're all visionaries. Artists are visionaries. We see it and we just go towards it. And Screw the obstacles. We'll make it happen somehow.
Right,
The show
right.
must go on.
I know, it's a corny saying, the show must
So
go
would you
on,
say you
but
guys were like Mickey and Judy?
we would joke about that quite often. We're like, I got a
Let's-
barn.
let's put
Let's
on a
go.
show."
We can do it, kids. And there are times, yes, that we did feel that way. We did.
Yeah.
We were like, oh my God. We're like, oh my God, how is this going to happen? How is the show going to open? You know, there were times where we were, you get so over, I can only speak for myself in this sense, but you get so overwhelmed because there's so much to do and there's only so many hours in the day that I would have to stop and just stop for a moment and take a breath and be like, okay, don't get stifled. You know, I would have to just take a breath, okay, and then just go, move on.
Yeah. So at what point did you, after you incorporated, got your not-for-profit, when did you form the board? When did they come
The
on?
board was formed immediately also, and it was basically like 4 people, that was it. It was, I think Judy's sister was on it, Kathy. I can't even remember but I know Kathy was one of the very first people to be on the board. So it was like, yeah, maybe 4 people, that's it. And who wants to be on the board? Okay, you, and will you be? Sure.
You weren't
And,
thinking in terms that back then about board development.
No, God, no. We were just like, we need a board of directors. We need a board of good. We have to have one. Okay, we have 4 people. Great, 4 or 5 people. Fantastic. Okay, and then of course, it grew into what a board is. And the board has varied from 8 people to maybe sometimes 16. So through the years, it has really fluctuated. And
Well, you've had some great board people, haven't you?
yeah, and some have been real worker.
Did Jim
worker
Riggs
bees.
ever become a board member, by the way?
Yes, I think Jim was.
Yeah.
I think Jim was for a while a board member. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he was. And he was a great guy.
Yeah.
He really was a very unique individual.
Mhm.
Very unique, but so supportive of us.
What do you think he was?
Well, I think his long relationship with Dr. Fitzgerald and Nell Fitzgerald, Judy's parents, Joe and Nell, was a very long relationship. And he saw all those kids grow up. He was an attorney. And actually, when Kathy, Judy's oldest sister, was in law school, Jim was practicing at that time. He helped her out.
I'm glad we're talking about him because it
yeah.
reminds me of when I knew him through mutual friends, and he was very generous, very kind.
Very kind. By the time I met him, he was retired, and I met him later on through the
Yeah.
family. But always a great conversationalist, always very interesting, very funny, very funny,
Yeah.
very dry sense of humor. That's why I liked him. But yes, very nice, very kind, like you said, kind person. And always, yeah, he was at all the shows. Never missed a show. Never missed a show. He would bring people to the shows, which was what we always asked people to do. Just let them see the product.
Sure.
And then get them involved. They have to see the product.
So the 3 of you and Judy and Don, your long friendship, at one time, Judy and Don were married, correct? And the 3 of you managed to change your relationships,
Yeah.
but you're still one happy family because Lizzie's father.
I say that, yes, Don is
Don.
Lizzie's father.
And I've watched you all, your modern family, over the years on Facebook. No,
Yeah.
truly. I've been on
Yeah.
Facebook for, 16 years? How old is she now?
She's 20.
Okay, so I've seen most of the pictures,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you guys bragging on her, and
Yeah,
you have a
yeah.
lot to brag about.
Yeah, she's a good
I
kid.
have not seen her perform, but I can't wait.
She has a great voice. I always say this kid's got better pitch than all of us combined.
Wow, that's saying something,
you
considering that her mom
Yeah.
has that voice.
And
heard.
Don too,
Yeah,
she
both
got
of
it
them.
from both sides. I mean, if she couldn't sing, I'd be like, what happened?
Wouldn't that have been funny
What
if she
happened?
came out of the womb and could not sing a lick?
Right? And she's a very good singer. And she went to Carmel High School and she was in the show choir. She just got involved in school.
Oh, okay.
That's all she wanted to
choir.
do. That's all she wanted to do. She was very interested in the show choir. She went to Carmel Middle School and got into the show choir there. And it's like one of the only middle schools with a show choir. And she got in that, and that was great training for her when she went to the high school.
Well, since we're talking about her, let's stay there.
I
What's she
know.
doing now? What's going on?
She's at IU, and she's going to be a junior. And it's funny because she...
Musical theater or something?
No. She did, in high school, like I said, she did the show choir. She was in the all-female show choir, the Accents. And then she was in Select Sound. Select Sound is like this elite, what I think is elite a cappella group.
Mm-hmm.
They're the a cappella group of the high school. Out of like 500 kids, 18.
For listeners, they should know that Carmel and other high school choirs here, the culture here was showcased by Ryan Murphy, who went to school here, and Glee. That's where all
Carmel
that. He was
not Carmel is the bad guys in Glee.
North
right?
Central, Carmel, show choir.
The show choirs are I've never seen anything like it. I grew up in New Jersey. We had nothing like this.
Mm-hmm.
I was in show choir in high school. It was nothing like this. This is so competitive. These competitions they do every year are unbelievable.
And choreography and costuming. And
I mean, it's a production. They're full productions. And Lizzie was a veteran of the Accents for 3 years and of Select Sound for 3 years, the a cappella group. That a cappella group is where she really learned so much. What those kids did in Select Sound always blew me away. I just was always so impressed with their sound quality and how good they were.
Well, you would know.
know?
Just for a minute, tell me your training. Where did you study voice?
I started studying voice privately in high school. I went to a teacher, Lisa Lubin. I hope I'm remembering that correctly because it's been a few years. She was actually an opera singer, retired. So I was classically trained by her.
Mm-hmm.
So being trained by her classically, privately, it really taught me how to breathe properly and my diction, because I had to sing with her in Italian, and the art songs as they're called. And so I was also then doing musical theater in high school, doing the musicals.
So that's where you learn how to belt.
Taking from her. Well, here's the thing, Tom. I was not a belter because I was so classically trained. I was using my soprano voice so much. But even in high school, I was getting cast as the character women.
Yeah.
So I had to do a little mixing there with my vocals. And then once I got into college, I continued taking private voice lessons from another classically trained singer, and then had to learn how to mix all that with musical theater. And so...
But you still got the training to control your instrument well.
Yes, and that's why I'm so glad that I did get that training.
The discipline part of it.
Really disciplined me.
Breathing.
Yeah, it really
I
did.
don't know anybody like you who can sustain those high notes the way you do. Blows my mind.
There's plenty of people. There's plenty of people
that
that
but
can.
you've got that quintessential Broadway belter voice, though.
Yeah, and I learned how to belt actually properly a few years after college. I took another voice teacher of mine, and really, she taught me how to properly do that.
So did you and Judy, did she ask for, or did you give her tips about singing? Lizzie?
Oh, for Lizzie?
Yeah.
Oh, she doesn't listen to us. She's like, I know. We're like, listen.
How about her dad?
You might want to
same
do
thing
this.
with
Oh,
him, too?
please. That's even worse. She's like, I got it. Okay, I know. But then you don't think she's listening to you.
Okay. Yeah.
But you don't think she does, right? She's like, I know. And
Well,
she's like,
when you're that
but
age,
then, right?
you just don't want to be bossed around,
right,
here, especially by your parents.
And we can be bossy when it comes to that stuff. We're like, listen, this is what you have to do. You have to be organized.
See,
and
there's your first mistake. You should never use you statements.
So, of course, and I always do and will continue to do so. But then you don't think she listens, but then we're like, hey, she listened to us.
Yeah.
She did it.
So, I could go on and on about your work and Judy's work and Don's because I've seen so much of you. But let me tell you right now, for our listeners who don't know the extent of your work, as an actor, singer, dancer, you are what they call a triple threat, and you really have demonstrated that over and I'm always so amazed that. And there are others in town, but you really have always stood out to me because I really do consider you a chameleon. I've believed everything that you've ever done. I never see Cindy Collins. I see this character
Oh,
that
thank you.
you always manage to be believable, convincing, and honest.
Oh, thank you.
Very
Yeah,
honest,
thank you.
very remarkable. And the thing is that you make it look effortless.
Oh, yeah.
And
Well,
I know I mean,
yeah,
but you got the training, you got the talent, you got to have all those things. And,
Yeah.
and the same with Judy and Dawn as well.
yeah, I mean, I have to say that the two, my cohorts, I still say, when we started the company, yeah.
Were you aware of that in each other when you first
Yeah,
hooked up
because
together?
we had all worked together.
Okay.
I actually worked with Don, and I met in '94. We were in a show called Good News at North Shore Music Theater, a very good theater.
In Chicago?
Up in Beverly, Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
Very, very good theater, regional theater. I worked there quite a few times, but Good News was my first show there. And Don and I were dance partners. And so that's where we met. We did the show, and we did a few more shows up there together. And then I met Judy when we all did My Fair Lady at Westchester Broadway Theater up in Westchester, upstate New York.
And who played whom in that show?
We were all just in the ensemble.
Okay.
All of us were in the ensemble. Judy actually understudied. She was one of the understudies for Eliza. The Don was the dance captain. We were all working with a director we knew, Worth Gardner. And we had all worked with Worth. So he hired us for My Fair Lady up there.
And so you were
And,
Cockney street people, and
And
then
we were,
you
and
the,
feature,
and then the classy,
and featured,
yeah.
like I was like Lady Boxington and
Okay.
Mrs. Hopkins, which
Yeah.
that role, that featured role. So I got some nice little features.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the first time the three of us all worked together. And then Don had this relationship with George Ensemble Theater, and that's when we started working there together.
Mhm.
And we all worked at Pennsylvania Center Stage together,
Mhm.
actually, too. That's the professional theater company at Penn State.
Mhm.
We did the Taffetas. I've done like 5,000 taffetas. I'm too old for it now. I've aged out because they're supposed to be no older than 21, 22.
I love
and
that.
we were
You
doing
aged-
that in our 30s.
I love that you aged.
Oh, God, I did. Way long time ago.
So did you guys
But-
know back then, before you decided to move here, start a theater, did you like sit around with cocktails or coffee and think, gosh, just think, we could do this, this, and this, and this, and this, we could do this show?
That only came later when I think we were probably doing one of our last shows at George Ensemble Theater. Must have, I mean, I can't even tell you, but it wasn't like years that we were sitting around thinking about it. Nobody
Yeah.
was thinking about it. I was a working actor. We were all working actors doing our gigs.
The three
Yeah.
of you, though, have roles that you always wanted to do and thought?
Well, every
Sure.
every performer has.
They
like,
had to have
"Ah,
been
I'd really
part of
like
it
to
to
do that
put
role."
yourself in a position where you could conceivably do the work you want to do.
Yes, and that was part of it too. We're like, hey, listen, we can make our choices. We can make the choices for ourselves. We can hire our friends who need work from New York, and give them work.
There are
and give
wags
ourselves
around
work.
town, and you know this well. There are wags around town who say, well, the only reason they started that theater is so they could
Of
get the
course.
lead roles.
Of course. And I'd like to say to
It's
those
a-
people, start a theater company for
Yeah.
yourselves right now. Go ahead and start a professional
but
theater
they're-
company, and you'll see how
They're
how
always
hard
gonna,
that is.
They're always going to be those petty people.
I don't care what people say,
Sure.
usually anyway.
And there's been repertory forever. You hire
Yeah.
people you've worked with, and they're tested. Why not?
Well, that's
when
how-
you say,
listen.
I love the fact that you guys, whenever I look at your programs, I note that a lot of those people, like East Coast people, you've worked with them, and
Well, that's-
somewhere
yeah.
along the line.
Yeah, and as an actor, you.
Or not just East Coast regional stuff. that you
Regional,
did.
as an
Yeah.
actor living from if you're living in the city,
Mhm.
New York, that is your work. You're very rarely, it's funny, going to be, and it was great. Listen, when I got a show in the city, in New York, it was fantastic. You're at
Mm.
home and you're working.
Yeah.
You're going home to your apartment at night. It's great. You're home and you're working. Oh my gosh, how fantastic. But that is not the percentage of
The norm.
the people in this business who are working actor, they're working regionally.
Yeah, and a lot of them, you have to live in New York to get cast to go out into the hinterlands in a touring show.
Yeah, you're home. You have your home in the city.
And you sublease.
You subletted.
Did you
all the
did you
time.
do all that? Yeah.
All the time I subletted.
Did you ever tour?
Oh, yeah.
company?
Yeah, I did a national tour of Singing in the Rain.
What was that like?
That was fun. That was God, I was with that tour for 6 months. I
Okay.
left after 6 months. They were going to go do a few more things, and I was going
Yeah.
to do Sweet Charity. And so I ended
Yeah.
my contract.
Was it a bus and truck?
It was a bus and truck, and then they were flying. So you'd fly a little bit,
Okay.
but mostly
Sit
it was
downs.
a bus and truck. And so we'd go and work out really early in the morning. We had our little group, and we'd be like, okay, listen, we're going to go to the gym. We're going to work out like at 6 o'clock. I could never do this now. At 6 o'clock, it's okay. We'll sleep on the bus. Great. I mean, that was like our routine. And there were some
Did
great
you go all
people.
over the country?
Yeah, we were everywhere. There were some great people on that tour. Great
Mhm.
people, really talented.
To go to a
really
lot of
talented
big towns,
people.
big towns, small towns, everything.
I'm telling you, we were everywhere.
Mhm.
I was like, holy mackerel. You know, the itinerary they
And
had.
you were younger, so it was still magical.
Oh, God, I was. How old was I? Good
And
Lord.
did you live the quintessential Manhattan experience when you worked in town? I mean, like.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up right outside the city.
Oh, okay,
I
so.
grew up 25 minutes from
So
Manhattan.
it wasn't like you
So-
like showed up with your tap shoes off the bus and, oh my God, I'm like Ruby Keeler.
Right.
Yeah.
I was more like, I'll see you tonight. to my
Where are you
parents.
from?
I'm
In
going
Jersey?
to
Whereabouts?
Livingston, New Jersey.
I can still hear a little tinge
Yeah,
of
you
that
can.
New Jersey.
You can. Yes.
I've seen you in
yes.
characters do that.
Yeah,
boy.
yeah. Well, it slips. It's an easy slip back in. From,
Yeah.
You know, but yes, it was very close to the city, and as a young person, we were in the city all the time, and then once I started working professionally,
Mhm.
yeah, there was. I mean, my first job out of college was actually right out of college was in Ohio. It's a theater company that no longer exists in Columbus, Ohio, Players Theater in Columbus, Ohio. And I got that contract before I graduated. So I graduated
Where'd you graduate from? I
Ohio
forgot.
University.
Oh,
So I went to
wow.
school out here and got
Ah.
that gig. I went home,
Columbus.
went home for the summer and then came back out to Columbus to start my contract with them.
Well, so you're familiar with the Midwest then, for sure.
Yeah, and that was a great contract.
There's a lot of
First job.
similarity, I understand, between Columbus and Indy. Is that true?
Yeah, Columbus is a nice little city,
Mhm.
and they were a nice equity theater company there,
Mhm.
and I was hired to do their children's theater portion of that theater company. There were 4 of us who
Mhm.
were hired, and we were there the entire
So
season.
they had a good theater school there, where you
They-
went to school?
You know, it was
At Ohio?
it was
Ohio State?
it was Ohio University in
Oh,
Athens.
we're okay. I'm not. It's not.
Yeah,
I was
OU
saying
in
Columbus.
Athens,
Yeah, yeah.
not in Columbus. Yeah,
Sorry about
OU
that.
in Columbus. No, that's okay.
Yeah.
Smaller school, a theater department. They had no musical theater,
Mm.
nothing. They were we are a theater department. And I'm like, okay, I'll go over here to the music department and start taking some voice lessons, and I'm going to go over to the dance department and start taking some dance classes. So I had to kind of make my own way there. If you
Mhm.
wanted to do, you kind of, and they did do.
Why didn't you transfer?
They did do musicals, but once I was there and I was settled,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, I got through my freshman year, and I knew that as a freshman, sometimes you're not allowed to perform in certain
Ah,
departments.
okay. So you did a lot of straight plays. It sounds like.
yeah, and they did musicals, and then they'd spice it up with some musicals, and which I did, which I always did. And so I was like, God, I'm here now. Where am I? Are you kidding? I
Mm.
can't. Oh my gosh. It made me actually, looking back, I think, you know what? It made me more aggressive. It made me make my way.
Mm.
I had to do that. Nobody was going to do it for me, you know?
It just occurred to me that that theater training you got, if they just did plays, has served you well. I mean, I just compliment you on your characters, your characterizations.
Yeah.
That's where that came from,
Yeah,
right?
and I did have some people there that really, and not everyone, you go to school, you're not going to like everybody who teaches you.
It
you
may
know?
be that you got better training on your own by the way you learned that and the
Yeah,
way you
you
did the
kind of
vocals.
do, I mean, even if it's a very, very good school,
Yeah,
even if it's an exceptional musical theater department,
yeah,
they're only going to teach you so much.
that's right.
And you got to get out there and where
you
you
must
learn.
have really worked hard
you
doing
know.
all that in your undergrad.
There-
Were you a good student?
Yeah, when I got into college, I really was.
Yeah.
I got on the dean's list and everything, and
Mhm.
because I was doing what I love to do.
Sure.
And I was working hard to do it, and don't get me wrong, I partied.
Oh, I was going to get there.
Let's not
You know,
sugarcoat anything. I was in college.
Anybody's ever done it knows this is a whole subculture.
Come on, so
reward system after the rehearsals to 3 a.m. Closing opening night hangovers.
So come on, right? So let's not. I'm not delusional.
But that's part of it.
Yeah.
It's part of the bonding.
Yeah.
Just God.
Yeah,
it was,
of course. But
one of the things, when I did theater eons ago, I was a theater kid, but that was the thing that was hardest for me, the grieving process that I went through after shows would close.
Yeah.
I would bond with these people, and then everybody would go their separate ways. A lot of them would go on to other shows. That's where the gypsy thing came from,
Yeah.
but I would miss them, and I get homesick for them, and it was so hard for me. And people would, promise you'd have a few lunches, a few dinners, and then everyone went their separate way. Do you have a hard time with that?
No,
even
because
now?
when you're an actor and you're in the city or in New York, you're all there. So you're like, oh, what gig are you doing? I'm going to do. Oh yeah, and you're working with people also
Sure.
again and again, because if a director, if a director likes you, they're gonna I was fortunate enough to have this happen to me with a few directors. They're gonna pick their core. Hey, I'm doing, I'm doing Annie. And nurse, are you available? Yes, thank you. When you start getting those phone calls, just being asked to do work, that's the best feeling in the world. So yeah, you're all there in the city, and you see each other at the equity auditions. You're seeing everyone, And so no, but I will say, when you're away and you did a show, and the show closes, and you go back home to your apartment.
Yeah.
I would walk into the apartment, and I'd be like, oh my God, I felt like I never left. Did I just do that show?
Yeah.
I'm back to square one. Audition tomorrow. Okay. Got it. Nowadays, everything it's still the same, and it's still the same to me. But there's video submissions now for
that's
theater,
true.
where COVID kind of, once COVID
Isn't
hit.
that amazing how COVID was so profound?
It really changed a lot of many, many things. And at first,
now everybody's got a tape set up too, especially if you do commercial work for agencies.
And everything.
Yeah.
Well,
what agency are you with now?
I'm with Heyman Talent,
Yeah.
and I'm with Talent Fusion, which is here.
Well, we've crossed paths. I'm with Heyman and Cullen
Heyman Talent covers.
You've
the
been doing
tri-state.
much work lately?
I just did a commercial this morning.
Yeah.
But this is this date that we're doing this.
Isn't it fun? I tell people that you never know where your image is going to show up. Some people send me brochures. Oh, I saw this on the elevator, or or I saw you on the side of a bus in Hawaii.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I love it. It doesn't happen all the time, but as you know, it can be pretty darn lucrative.
The one I just did.
For those listening, that
means
if they use your image on the internet or wherever they use, they got to pay you for it.
Yeah, they're paying
and the
for
agents
usage.
fought hard for it, but they get 20%. So.
Yeah, they get their 20% out here.
Yeah. So, let's talk about you now. As one of the things that you were telling me is that you're in a production with Indie Shakes.
Yes,
formerly,
Indie Shakes.
Well, it's still Indianapolis Shakespeare Company.
Yes,
but
the
this
full
is
title is the Indianapolis Shakespeare
Yeah,
Company.
tell me about this work you're doing now.
Indie Shakes. So The Comedy of Errors is their current production, and Jen and Rob Johansson are directing it. They're two really intelligent people.
They've been on this show together. They're like the lunch.
Indianapolis, that's a great way
For
to put it.
those people who don't know that they were like actors, the 20s through the 50s, they were like a couple, and they were together on stage a lot.
Oh,
and
they
like
know.
Jessica Tandy. And
Cronin.
Yeah, people like that. Yeah. So, Jen and Rob. Wow.
They're very good actors.
Did you see the show that they did together at Phoenix?
No. I'm thinking of that they just recently did.
The Holocaust was a theme in that, and they play multiple characters. It blew my mind.
Yeah, they're very good.
So how are they? How does that work?
Well,
Two
they're
directors?
good because it's funny.
They take.
How does that work? It does work, and
Interesting.
Because they are, to me, just listen. I knew, of course, I knew Rob and Jen, but I never worked with them on stage ever, and so they hired me, and Ryan. Berger, who's the artistic director of Indie Shakes. So I was like, thank you so much for the gig, number one. I haven't done Shakespeare since I was probably about 23 years old, So I was like, oh boy. But they work very well together because Rob is like bouncing, energetic, boing, it's great. Oh, it's fantastic. And we're going to do blah, 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 blah. And Jen's more, she's a little more calm and grounded. She's like, all right. And Rob will be like, okay. Checks on the language with her. So she's like, that's correct. That means this. All right. And so they're very different people, the two of them. They're very different to me as just looking at them, and they are very different. But they obviously have something in common. They're married and they work so well together. But they're very, very different in their styles. But I'm telling you, it works. It works together.
For those listening who aren't familiar or didn't do their Shakespeare homework, tell me about Comedy of Errors.
So the Comedy of Errors is obviously one of Shakespeare's comedies. It's probably, I think, one of the most relatable of his works.
Is it a modern interpret, by the way?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
That is happening. Not too modern.
Okay.
But more contemporary.
Fun.
The 80s.
Okay.
The 80s.
Oh, the 80s.
The 80s.
So you're wearing big hair?
1984 to be exact. I'm going to have to go back to my high school years and get my hairstyle back.
Frizzed? It's frizzed, wasn't it back then?
Oh,
in the
it was
80s?
big.
Madonna. Wasn't it
It was
Madonna?
Madonna. It was body waves.
Oh, yeah.
It was also short. My hair was short for a time.
Yeah.
Oh, God. So it's actually a 1984 Daytona Beach. I had a great time. And it's at the it was at the Taggart.
I've seen
Beautiful.
you venture off from the ATI work and over the years, and I recall one that I wanted to talk to you about because I still remember to this day I loved the work. And I think Brian directed Funhouse.
No, Suzanne Fleener.
Oh, that's right.
Suzanne Fleener did
Yes,
Fun. So
Suzanne
it was Fleener.
Suzanne was on this podcast.
Yeah.
Yes, I forgot.
No,
and
yeah.
Amelia Ray played the little girl.
Oh my God.
Are you still in touch with Amelia?
That kid.
Have you seen her?
No, but isn't she like?
She's a star.
Yeah, right. I know she was doing Disney.
Getting there.
Because she was doing stuff on the Disney
She
Channel.
is, as you can imagine, she has turned into this beauty. I've interacted with her for various reasons, but she got introduced in L.A. at a concert with Anthony Nunziata.
Yeah.
He opened for him. She was at a gig at 54. Natural.
Yeah, she really
She was
was.
natural when she was a little kid, right?
Are you kidding? And I'm not surprised. There's no surprise there. She
Yeah.
was exceptional. Exceptional in the show.
As
Every
were
night.
you, and
Oh,
your
thank
chemistry
you.
between
Thank
the two of you.
Yeah, thank you. It
And
was-
that was a stretch for you, as I recall, wasn't it?
Well, I never, it's funny, Judy and I went to see the show in the city.
I mean, after doing so much musical and then doing that role.
Well, that music was fantastic in that show, that musicals. The music
Yeah, that's what I meant.
is,
Yeah.
the genre of the music is, yes, it was a little different for me. When Judy and I went to see the show, we went with friends of ours and saw it, we'd see it on Broadway. And I was like, oh my God, this show is fantastic. And Judy's like, oh, you can play that role. And I said, no, Judy, I can't play that role. She's like, no, Cindy, you can play the role of Alison Bechdel. She's like, you can play it. And I was like, I don't know. And then I saw, obviously, Phoenix was doing it. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to go for it and go. And
I'm so glad you
and
did.
I really treasure that time doing
Yeah,
that
I saw
show.
from afar that you seemed to be venturing. You wanted some artistic growth. I kind of imagined that was going on in your head.
Yeah, because it's when you're running a company, it's hard to do anything else. And I have to say, Don did it too. When we could, we would try to work at the other equity theater companies here. We finally got to a point where we're like, hey, do you think I can go do this show? And we're like, yeah, we would talk.
Another,
we'd be like, yeah.
Another big one that I loved was Rocky Horror. Did you do Magenta in
Oh
that?
my God, it was Columbia.
Columbia, oh my.
Okay, so that was Zach and Zach Productions at the
yes.
Athenaeum.
It was so good.
And-
It was so good.
That
How many Rockies ago was that?
two, I think.
Yeah, they do it every 2 years.
They do
right?
it every 2 years. So it was the one before the last one.
Okay.
It was yeah.
Columbia. And you had that voice. I love that. Can you do that voice?
What did I do?
Kind of
Dang.
like a squeaky, it was a high, it was,
Okay.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
it. Yeah, I had the, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's right. Well, that show was so much fun.
what's it like working with those guys?
Oh, it was great. My very dear friend Kenny Shepard choreographed.
Sure. Oh God, love him.
Kenny is one of my oldest and dearest friends.
Aw.
And he did such a good
He
job.
and Tim were on the show too. See, I've had everybody
right.
but you.
But
Now I'm not. Yeah.
Okay, you're full circle here. You've completed.
Yeah.
Tim was Frankenfurter. Of course, he was absolutely spectacular.
He was.
And
wasn't Jacob Butler in
oh
that
my
too?
God! And Jacob was riffraff, and Jacob would hit this note every night in one of the songs, and I would run to the wings to watch him and hear him.
Okay, time to talk about Titanic, because I don't know. Do you read your reviews?
Sometimes.
Well, I have waxed poetically about you
Well, I'm
in
gonna
my
have to
review.
read it now.
Well, I'll
Thank
tell
you.
you that Titanic.
Thank you.
I have seen work for a long time. I've seen the best in theater, musical, blah blah blah. Anyway, I was so proud of our arts community when I saw Titanic, because it truly, truly could play anywhere.
Yeah.
I could see that on Lincoln Center in their concert series, and that's
Yeah.
where I started seeing concerts.
Yeah.
I've seen a few locally. Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
Were you involved in Sweeney Todd?
Yeah, the first time we did Sweeney was
Yeah.
at the Studio
Yeah.
Theater. Richard J. Roberts directed it.
Yeah. Oh my God,
And then,
Richard.
yeah, great director.
Mhm.
I really enjoy working with Richard. And then it was decided, okay, let's bring it back, but let's do it at the Palladium for a special 2 nights.
Mm.
And that Richard directed that production as well. All 3 of us were in that to both times. Judy was Love It, Don was Sweeney, and I was the Beggar Woman. When we did that at the Palladium, I have to say, we got that in right under the wire, because in March COVID hit. And we did that end of February. End of February was those 2 nights at the Palladium. And then March, everybody's like, hey, there's this pandemic. And we're like, oh. And so we got that in, boy, I'll tell you, right under the wire.
Yeah, and then what's been memorable over the years is your various Forbidden Broadways that you've been
Oh
involved
my God.
in. The one at the District. I will never want
yeah, that's
that
right.
one was
That's
just
right.
over the top.
Oh my gosh.
Love that. Logan Moore was in that.
Okay, so with that show, my good friend Billy Kimmel always directs and choreographs that one, because Billy was involved with Forbidden Broadway in New York for years. He was in many productions of it. What Billy did was, and it was really great, Billy would get permission from, not always from Gerard Alessandrini, who's the creator, but his assistant. He'd get permission to do certain numbers. He's like, look, I'm going and directing this. It's in good hands. I'm going to directing this at my friend's theater company. Can we do this number? Can you give me them? And they would. Actors Theater of Indiana has always been able to do the versions that we want to do Forbidden Broadway, because what's put out there for the regional theaters to do is not as good as some of the numbers that Gerard did.
So is that a show that you will bring back regularly to the company? And they can keep up, they're still being updated, right?
No, Gerard Alessandrini, who's the creator, took some time off.
Oh.
He wrote Spamilton, the spoof on Hamilton. So he took time, then he did Spamilton, and there was talk about a new Forbidden Broadway coming out in New York, but I have not seen that come to fruition.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Gerard has written any new material. Possibly he has, and it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
The show hasn't happened yet. I am not sure about that. But as far as Actors Theater of Indiana, the last Forbidden Broadway nearly killed me, and it was me, my friend Billy.
Oh.
He was in it. My God, Christine Zavakis and Kieran Denon, and Billy and I are like, holy
I still
crap,
have memories
we are.
of you guys
Yeah.
doing, Les Miserables. It
the
haunts me the
the
way you were moving
Les
around
Mis.
in the circle.
The Les Mis parody, and there's a few of them
Yeah.
that Gerard wrote over the years because
Yeah.
the show ran so long. So he wrote a few parodies of Les Mis. So there's different. You always do the turntable. That's always in there. Always the turntable, which is hilarious. I know.
Oh, God.
And always there's always the turntable that you do. If people don't know,
Yeah.
you have to do it with your just moving
And
your feet.
didn't you want?
know.
What were some of the characters you did in that? There was just the
my
wave, the
God.
little wave girl. What's her name?
In the Les Mis parody, it was the waif, and then the Thenardiers. That Billy added the last 2 times we did Forbidden Broadway, the Thénardier song was added.
You know, I've never seen you break character either. I mean, with doing that kind of stuff, you know.
No.
All it takes is
No.
one look from one actor.
I
and
know,
it's
but
like-
but with that stuff, because you're singing, you want to, with Forbidden Broadway, it's funny, because you know the music, and you're not singing the real lyrics.
Do you do improv? Can you do improv?
I do a
well?
little improv,
Yeah.
but you know, I
Could you
mean,
ever do Saturday Night Live humor, sketch comedy?
I've
Yeah.
done improv before,
Yeah.
with just little things, really. And with Comedy of Errors, there's a little bit of improv in it. It's not that I don't like it, but there are people that are so much better at
Yeah.
it than I am, that
Yeah.
their minds just work
Yeah.
so fast. They're split second. They're
Yeah.
so good. And I'm like,
Bog-
yeah, I'm not,
boggles my
I'm
mind.
like, I'm not that good.
I'm sure you studied it in college.
You
didn't
know,
in
we do a
theater?
little bit of it in
Yeah.
college,
So
actually.
we better talk about the upcoming season. By the way, you are a co-founder, but do you actually work for the theater
No.
as a staff
No.
person any longer? You're not like a co-artistic manager,
No,
production,
nothing. No,
Yeah?
nothing. Hold on. I believe it was 2023, so it's been
Mhm.
about 2 years that I backed away, and it was
Okay.
not a, you know, it was no big deal.
This allows you to do stuff like you're doing now.
It was
do
no
stuff.
deal. I was like,
No
listen,
drama. They had a big falling out,
No,
and they're
no,
not
there was
talking to
nothing
each other.
like
Blah
that.
blah blah.
There was nothing like that. It had nothing.
Come
no.
on, we needed some drama.
I know, but there was, as far as with me,
Yeah.
there was none. I was
Yeah.
like, hey,
Yeah.
listen.
Well, but you have to
know.
admit, anything that happens in the arts when things change,
Yeah.
it's like read between the lines, you know.
Well, but I will tell you, it's. I think it was, the company had an overhaul,
Sure.
and I think if companies don't do that,
Yeah.
whatever you're doing,
You're right.
they're going to fail. They're going to.
You know,
they're going to.
there's such a thing as founder's disease.
Yeah,
People
they're-
don't want to let go.
That's right, and they're going to.
It's the mission. You gotta keep your.
Right,
Right.
right, and those companies, they're not going to move forward.
Yeah.
They're going to get stagnant. It's not healthy.
Yeah.
And I came to that at that moment. I wasn't like, I'm leaving. I was like, hey, listen, I want to get
Sure.
back to. I know this sounds crazy, just being an actor.
Yeah.
And I got to get myself out there again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this was I gave everything I could to this company, and we all did.
Yeah.
All three of us gave everything. And I was just like, you know what? I want to do this for myself now. And it's, this
Now
is,
all
you
these
know,
great, you're still gonna do characters, but now
Yeah.
you're gonna be acting until you can't.
Walker.
So Judy and Meg Osborne are going to kill us, so we don't talk about the season. Do you
Oh,
know the
okay.
season coming
So,
up?
Yes, because Judy is kind enough to tell me things. No, the season's announced. It's been announced. It's
Okay.
out. But Judy Fitzgerald is now the producing artistic director,
Mhm.
and Darren Murrell, who's a really
Yeah.
wonderful, he's the associate artistic director.
I met him. I don't know him.
He's a
but
great
yeah.
guy, and he'd be a great interview
Okay.
because he's an extremely
Well,
interesting person
yeah.
and a great actor. So he and Judy are running the show. Meg Osborne is still a marketing director.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Judy and Darren have.
What
really,
are some of the shows, though? I mean,
Yeah,
probably
it's
a couple.
announced.
Yeah.
It's been announced,
Yeah.
and Judy and Darren put together a really, I think a
Are you in any of them?
really wonderful season. I'm not. I'm maybe
Yeah. Okay.
if my,
Yeah.
I
Maybe.
might.
All right.
But it opens with Beehive, which if this airs, it'll be rehearsing right now.
Yeah.
It'll be rehearsing right
Mhm.
now. Then Young Frankenstein,
Oh, wow.
which is a big undertaking, I think.
Frau Bruja.
Yeah, I know. And then,
I'll have to have Alan put some horse nailing in this part, would you please?
oh my God, Ovaltine, and then a show called Lucky Stiff, which a lot of people may not know. Lovely little musical. The music, God, such great music. It's a smaller musical.
Yeah.
And then Sunset Boulevard, another big one. So I'm like, the two of them. When Judy told me the season, I was like, wow, you guys, this is an undertaking for you guys. But, I thought, I'm like, kudos to you, go for
And
it.
of course, they'll probably put in some huge
Yeah.
ass staircase for Sunset.
I have no idea. I can't wait to see what you're going to do. Well, going back to Titanic, Judy and Darren were like, okay, what can we do at the Palladium? What else
I
can we
always
do?
marvel what you all do in that space. And similarly with Beef and Boards, the creativity of your creative team to take these big, huge musicals and put them in those little spaces.
Right, yeah, that's always,
And to choreograph in
that's,
those.
well, and,
Yeah.
and Carol Worsell is
Sure.
she choreographs so many
Yeah.
shows at ATI, and Carol's
Yeah.
awesome. There's people that know that space now, who work in that space now. Directors, choreographers, you know, they know how to work the space. And that is so important with an intimate space like that. Like you said, Tom, doing bigger shows that don't have 20 people in the show, they have maybe 13.
Well, I like them
you
because
know?
one has to use your imagination. You know,
Oh, it
isn't that
does.
what theater's about?
Oh, it does.
It'll always have to be lavish sets, and now, of course, now with the video and
Using
right?
video screens now
Yeah.
for sets, I think what it does is it tells the story, so you know the story. You're not like, oh, ah, ooh, you know, the pops and bubbles. You're actually sitting there, and you know the story.
And isn't Shakespeare's act? It's what's it? Or not Shakespeare, but acting's the thing. What is it? What am I trying to
Well, I
remember?
don't
There's some
know.
great quote. Anyway,
No
hey,
idea.
this has been just a blast. I'm so glad that we finally got a chance
Yeah,
to
me too.
connect.
Thank
and
you.
you know, yeah, I'll continue to follow your career. You know, I
Thank
always
you.
like to see you. It's kind of cool though because you've always been unpredictable.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
thanks.
and your choices, you know.
Yeah, thanks.
And I think that that's what living the life of an actor is all about. You want to grow, right? You don't want to be.
If you
You don't
s-
want to be stuck in a
if-
pigeonhole.
That's the
yeah.
thing, and if you stop, God,
Oh, we
you know,
need
listen,
a Cindy. We need a Cindy Collins
listen,
type, right?
Oh, I wish, please tell everyone they need a Cindy Collins type. I thank you so much. If you could possibly
I bet you
spread
someone
that
around
word.
town saying that. I just bet you some little community theater somewhere.
Oh, God. No, but yeah, there's always something to learn. There's always growth.
Mhm.
If you stop doing that, I don't know, you're dead, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you say to folks? Let's leave people a parting message. What
Oh.
is the value of live performance?
Well, first thing, the performing arts alone, and whatever you're doing in the performing arts, I always say there's just nothing like it. There's nothing like it. You are the energy that from the audience, what they're seeing is right there, live, in front of them. Mistakes can happen, you know, things happen, it's live, you know, it's live theater, and it's the excitement of it. There's nothing like hearing the orchestra warm up for a show. There's nothing like hearing that live music. There's nothing like hearing other people sing with you. There's nothing like feeling the energy of an actor next to you. There's nothing like being in the pocket when you're in that scene or in that song where you're like, oh my God, you're just, it's almost a, careful saying this, it's not an out-of-body experience, but it brings you to another level that I don't know if I can put into words. It just kind of brings you up to another level.
You know, a recurring theme of mine on this show is that I've got to remind people, especially in these times of discord and hatred and all the drama around us, that my work, you know, at least I can have this escape in the arts, and I'm immersed in this beauty, and it's a short respite from all the noise, right?
Yes.
And you don't know what the politics of the person next to you is.
Doesn't
and,
matter.
Unfortunately, it's like sports and arts is all we got. Right now, it
Yeah.
can build community, right?
And it doesn't matter who's in, yeah, you're there, you're all there to see something you want to see.
Yeah.
And you're all there enjoying it together as a whole. And everybody, the wonderful thing though, the spectacular thing though, about walking out of a show is you talk about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Go home and talk about it. Go
Sure.
have a drink and talk about it. Go have a late dinner and
Good
talk
point.
about it. Go and talk about what you just saw.
Good
And you
point.
may have opposing opinions,
Mhm.
great. But
Yeah.
that doesn't matter. What did that show do for you?
And if you like it, tell a ton of your friends.
And please spread the word, right?
And
Word of
help me
mouth.
bitch about something, because I don't know. It's like tearing me apart. I continue to go out there, and people are texting and looking at their phone.
Yeah, well,
And have you ever done a Patti LuPone from the stage?
oh my God, no. But
Have you ever wanted to?
actually, one time, I will say, no, I can't. I don't think I could do it, though you want to, because it's
Yeah.
so upsetting. It's
Can't
so
imagine.
upsetting, and it's so mind-boggling that people are that stupid. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it.
No, I
And
want to
that-
hear
And that
this.
rude that
Mhm.
you can't sit for an hour or a show that has an intermission. You're basically maybe sitting an hour, then you have intermission, then you're sitting another 45 minutes, or a show that is just 90 minutes in length, that you can't sit and watch something in front of you without pulling out a device. And the thing that kills me is it's announced. You hear announcement in the
Yeah.
beginning, it's put in the program,
Sure.
it's put on signs. All you have to do is read and listen and know that it's rude to your fellow patrons and the actors that are on stage trying to tell you a story. Your story's in front of you. It's not on your phone. Okay? No, I never did that, but there was one time when we did Chicago.
Have you ever heard those rings up on stage?
Yes,
though?
yes, and people have their phones on. So that's the thing. So all of a sudden a phone will go off. Oh my God, how many times were you told to silence this? And people are shuffling around in their bags and they're trying to turn it off, and you're like, oh my God. And you have to keep
Sure.
going.
Mhm.
But I think, yeah, we were doing a production. It was the first production at the Studio Theater when we got into the theater in 2011. And it was ATI's first show in the Studio Theater at the Center for the Performing Arts. It was Chicago. And Holly Stoltz was playing Velma and I was playing Roxy. And a girl in the front row was on her phone in the
Oh,
front row. And it's a very small theater. You can see
Oh.
everyone. And I think Holly can tell this story much better than I am because she has a better recollection of it. But either the girl was on the phone or the phone went off, and we were like, oh. And she claims that I slipped into my line between you and this, and I pointed to the girl, and I was like, I don't know if I did that. Or was that you, Holly? But that's the closest I've ever. I can't. No, it'll take me out of my show. I just.
Yeah.
It's bad enough when something rings and it almost takes you out of your show. I can't. I could never, say anything.
Well, with that, I had to just get that eye feeling. I mean, because that's what I do. I'm out of the theater all the time, and
Yeah.
it's getting worse.
Yeah, I know.
It is.
It's-
It's so disrespectful to
I know.
everybody.
Yeah, I agree.
Everybody in the audience. But back to happier things. So thank you again for
Thank you.
joining me, and I will look forward to see what you're casting next time around.
Yes. Oh, it's a
Yeah.
mystery.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Cindy.
Thanks, Tom.
Our thanks go out to our media sponsor, Urban Times. Urban Times is a monthly news magazine which serves as the official newsletter for 15 Indianapolis neighborhoods, offering news about development, arts and entertainment, and from the business community. Thank you for joining me on the aisle. Please subscribe to my podcast, and if you want to hear previous episodes, find them on the All Indiana Podcast Network, or listen to them wherever you get your podcasts. This is Tom Alvarez.
Who will take center stage on the podcast next? Your seat on the aisle with Tom Alvarez awaits. Follow Tom on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and make sure to visit tomalvarez.studio. Watch Tom every other Thursday on Lifestyle Live on Wish TV, and make sure to listen every week here on the All Indiana Podcast Network.